Good morning. If I say it enough, I'll wake myself up. So welcome. We're going to do some flow yoga. We're going to start in child's pose today. So if that's not your jam for whatever reason, and sometimes early in the morning, it does not suit me. So I get it. But you can stay in a seated position, or you can lie down if you want to. Whatever sounds like a plan to you will be fine with me. Oh, if you want to put a blanket down under your knees or under your chest, you can do that as well. And do some little wobbles. Get that child's pose a little loose, a little liquefied. Tune into the breath. So for me, this is a great pose for feeling the breath through the whole expanse of the back. See if you can hold the pose gently enough that you can feel yourself just kind of gently lift and release with the breath. A few more rounds. Now I'm gonna pretty much use my elbows. We're just gonna extend the arms up front, and then we'll flow forward into a Cobra or into a Sphinx. Oh. Now you can have the legs all the way stretched out, or you can bend at the knee. For now, we can sort of liquefy this initial position. Little ankle circles or something along that line. Lift into Cobra, kind of liquefy the Cobra. Back down. Shimmy the shoulders a little bit. I'm going to draw my hands back a little bit further and kind of come up and again sort of liquefy the Cobra. Give it some little movement. Come on back down. Shimmy the shoulders a little bit. And then one more time. Oh, hello. I feel feet on my feet. I'm gonna lift into Cobra. Kind of liquefy it. Oh. And then come on back down. Oh. Shimmy my shoulders a little bit. Come up to all fours. All right, friends, from here, You can move in whatever way seems like a good idea. Maybe, maybe in ways that you and your pets find together. I don't know what's gonna happen now that we've had that little drive-by, but whatever. Little side to side movement, up and down. This is gonna turn into a downward dog eventually, but you don't, whenever you're ready for it to do so. Now again, if downward dog is not your jam, sometimes there's just poses that are not. You're welcome to get onto your feet and with whatever pose is. Just feels better. Again, once you get to dog, if you choose to hang out with it, liquefy it. Give it a little bit of a feeling of movement or softness or whatever you like, whatever seems like an appropriate kind of movement pattern. Hang out with it as long as you care to, and then move into the next phase of poses, which could be of hanging out in a forward bend for a little bit, liquefying that, and then coming to a standing pose when you're ready and liquefying that. Just get a little fluid. And then once you're kind of ready, I'm not rushing you, this is when you get there, find a mountain pose and hang out with it for a moment. Maybe you're already there. Check into how your weight is shifting, front to back, left to right, center to outside edge. See if you can notice if, like I'm noticing a little bit of a difference between my right hip and my left hip, which, you know, it's probably mostly due to the way I like to sleep. Similarly with my shoulders, there's a little bit of a difference. So I'm just gonna play with that a little bit. I might be a little kinder to one side than the I'll add a little extra props on one side, just to see how it goes. All right, we're gonna take a nice big breath, reach the arms overhead. Maybe there's a little baby back bend. Come into chair pose. Weight on the right leg. We're gonna pick the left leg up, step ourselves out to a wide angle, which might turn into a wobble or might turn into a forward bend. Liquefy the shoulders a little bit. And then we're going to come up about halfway, turn the right foot all the way around to the right, and then adjust the left foot so we can come into triangle pose. Taking one more big breath there. All right, I'm gonna lean forward just a little bit. So I'm gonna bend my right knee, adjust my left foot until I can get to that spot. And then I'm gonna tilt myself up into a half moon balance. I don't know if I'm ready for this or not, but I'm gonna give it a whirl. Taking a nice big breath. Oh, I'm gonna put my left foot down beside my right foot, come up halfway, fold, and then come all the way up to standing. Give it a nice big stretch. Oh, take a chair pose. Oh, putting the weight into the left leg. I'm gonna pick my right leg up and step out into a wide angle, which I probably will adjust a little bit. And then I'm gonna kind of liquefy it. Oh. Last time I liquefied the shoulders, this time I'm kind of liquefying the legs. You can do either or both. Ooh. Take a big breath. And then I'm going to turn my left toes all the way around to the front of the mat, adjust the back foot, and come into triangle pose. It's kind of finding that shape, feeling the little edges of it emerge out of my shoulders and out of my hips. Taking a nice big breath. All right, I'm gonna lean forward, wiggle my back foot in, and then pick myself up, whoa, into a half moon balance. It might wobble. Taking one more breath. Oh, I'm gonna put that right foot down beside the left one, come up halfway, and then fold over, and then come all the way up to standing. Give it a big stretch. Oh. And come back to mountain pose for a moment, just see if I can feel any differences between the first mountain pose and this one. Take a big breath. I'm going to grab my right wrist, give myself a little stretch over to the left. Oh, lean into it a little bit. Coming back. Shift the weight into the right leg. Now you can do any yoga pose that you like. You could do a dancer. You could do a tree. You could do an eagle. I'm liking that one today. Choose for yourself. Oh, a little wobbly though. One more breath. And then we're gonna lift that leg up and step out into our wide angle. Take a big breath. Exhale, fold forward. You might stop halfway. You might go all the way over. You might pull yourself through. You might liquefy the pose a little bit, let it sway, a little wobble. We're going to come up about halfway. Now, I'm turning the right foot again around to the right so that it goes towards the top of the mat. I'm going to adjust my back foot. I might need a little wider so I can come into a side angle pose. Sometimes I like resting on my thigh. Sometimes a little block feels nice. Today it's a thigh. It's most often the thigh. So I'm just stretching out this long side. Again, there might be a little liquefying. I'm going to come to warrior two. And then I'm going to put both hands on the floor. Now, you can come back to that half moon balance and hang out there a while, or add a little sun salutation, step into dog, coming into plank, finding your way to a cobra or some other version of an upward, upward dog, whatever you like. And then taking it back, we'll take that right leg up, hang out with that three-legged dog. One more breath. And then stepping the right foot forward and leaning into it. I'm going to pick myself back up into that half moon balance and meet up with you if you went there first. Take a nice big breath, lift from the hip. Oh, and then we'll put the left foot on the ground. Come up halfway. Exhale and fold. Come all the way up to standing. Oh. All right. Now, taking a big breath. Grabbing the left wrist, little stretch to the right. Oh. Coming back to center. Picking your balancing pose from last time. And then we're going to pick up this right leg. Step out into a wide angle. Fold forward. Again, you might hang out with a different alignment, maybe halfway instead of all the way folding. Liquefy it as you like. And then turning this into side angle pose. I'm going to turn my left foot back to the front of the mat. Finding an alignment with my feet that works for me. And then stretch into it. Come into warrior two. And then you might go into that half moon and hang out there, or step back to a dog and maybe just stay there, or go ahead and complete the rest of that little sun salutation. Oh. Three-legged dog. There's a lot of groaning on my mat this morning. We'll step the left foot forward. And again, we're gonna turn that back into our half moon balance. Lift from the hip. Put that right foot down. Come up halfway. Fold in. And come all the way to standing. Oh. Give it a big stretch. Liquefy everything. And then find your mountain pose. One more time. Just noticing if it stands any lighter, any taller, just any different at all. Take a big breath. I'm gonna get into a seated position from downward dog. Probably I'm gonna go back to child's pose and then do it, but we're gonna get there. So any way you want to get there is fine with me. You just want to squat first and then sit down, you can do it that way. Oh. Like having this chance to check in with child's pose one more time. When you're ready, we'll come to a seated position. Now, there are some options. So we're gonna do a little head to knee variation, which you can do kind of really, down the midline of your body, or you can make more of a V where you go in a little bit more of a side bend or other side direction. So that's up to you. I'm kind of feeling both of them out. And sort of, I'm kind of liking the one right down the middle today, but you can decide for yourself which one's the right one for you. Before we get to the forward bend, I just want to get my legs in place primarily. Before we get to the forward bend, we're going to sit up kind of tall. Oh, I'm going to liquefy this leg a little bit. And then I'm going to twist towards the leg that's out straight. So in my case, my left leg is out straight, so I'm twisting to my left. I'm going to try to put the weight back into my hips evenly. So I'm going to ask my rib cage, my upper back, and my neck to do most of the work in this twist. Try to leave my hips a little more solidly swimming around there on the ground. Almost nothing has been solid today. Why bother starting now? It could be a little bit liquid. Oh, feels nice to kind of liquefy the upper back in a twist, actually. So we'll take a couple more breaths. And then I'm gonna, on my exhale, unwind the twist. And you know, you have a choice between having the legs really, really active or having the legs a little more passive, hinging forward only from the hips, or letting the back round with this forward bend here, which in the yin world is called half butterfly, because we approach it with a really soft, relaxed mannerism, a soft, relaxed muscle setup, and then we hang out in a relaxed way. Whereas Janu Sirsasana, the head to knee pose, is usually done with a lot more muscular activity. Today, it feels really nice to me to just be soft and liquidy. So I'm gonna do it that way, but you test out both yourself and do the one you like. Now, just a little caveat, if you have any lower back disc issues, they tend to pinch nerves or whatever, rounding your lower back might be problematic, so choose appropriately for yourself. Forward bends are maybe the most tricky for lower back issues. And we'll do 2 more breaths here. Now to get out of here, I'm gonna kind of readjust my spine. I'm taking a nice big breath. Kind of as that air comes in, straightening out, and then I'm gonna unhinge at my hips. I'm gonna liquefy my legs. Oh. And then we're gonna do the other side, same idea, right? So we'll set it up however you liked it, whether you liked it wider or a little bit more, down the midline. We're still gonna leave the hips stable and rotate the upper body around into a twist. Again, I'm kind of noticing any inclination I have to lean out of my opposite side. So I'm twisting to my right. Often I will, like, my hips try to be helpful, right? So my left hip will kind of push itself over to the right. So I'm just coming back so that that lower half of my body is nicely stable. It builds the kind of bowl on top of the, where I can, above that I can twist really lovely. Release tension from that upper part of my back. Leave my poor lower back alone. Or at least nurture it. When you're ready, we're coming out of there. We're going into the forward bend. And again, it can be much more active. On this side, it feels pretty much 6 of one, half dozen of the other for me to be passive or active. But since I chose passive last time, I'm going to do it again. Oh, that left side had a definitive notion about it. The right side's a little more accommodating today.
So I'm just, you know, every time I find, like when I find something that feels a little stuck or a little resistant, today my approach is liquefy. So that's been the little kind of notion today, which is let a pose kind of wobble, move all the muscles in the same, you know, in a pose in a kind of rhythmic way. See what happens. I'm going to inhale myself up really slowly. Unpacking that forward bend in my spine first, and then unpacking the forward bend in the hips. I'm going to come to a seated position and just pause for a moment. So it's like a mountain pose, but not. It's kind of started here before we went into child's pose. So you can stay as long as you want, but for the purposes of getting you guys off to your various working destinations, let's take a nice big breath together. Big deep sigh. Namaste, everyone.